Hi everyone. I'm not sure if I'm going to be alone again or if someone's going to join me. Um, Sky said she might join me in the chat, but she won't be able to join me in the Hangout itself because of some construction they're doing at the moment around the place. So it's a bit too noisy. So I'm probably going to be the only one doing the actual talking in this video, but yeah. Um, Sorry if I'm sounding a bit dreary and dull today. I didn't want to skip because it's a bit early in the year yet for me to give up on my pretty much daily goal of writing. But yeah, I've had a rough day. So please bear with me because yeah, wasn't really easy. Um Basically I have so much to do at the moment. It is not even it's insane. I But it's a good thing. It means that if I'm this busy, it does actually. If I'm this busy, it's a good thing because it means that my career is really taking off, at least on one side. Um, Sky says yes, you really can't make it live because they are really really loud. So welcome, Sky. Hi. Um, yeah, sorry that we can't actually hang out today, but it's so cool if we can chat. Sky says, "I'm sorry you're having a rough day." No, it's fine. Yeah, some days are better than others. It's just, I think the thing that really has me down is that I'm actually probably supposed to be working even more hours right now. But I don't know if I should because I'm really tired. But um, on the other hand, if I don't do that, then I get really far behind. And the hours work that I do is actually the bigger part of my income. So it's probably something I'm going to have to do somewhere, at least a couple of hours. And that, or else it means working weekends, which is not fun either. But on the positive side, it does look like it's probably going to be raining tonight. So hopefully it might actually cool down the weather a bit as well, which would be really nice. Because the heat can be really draining this time of the year. But yeah, so, and anyway, besides that, I don't know, I'm sure you guys know that we've been going through a drought for a few years now, and at one stage, Cape Town, which is a few hours from where I live, actually was at the point of actually running out of water. So it's nice to know that at least the rain is coming, even though it's a bit late. But at least here, the place I'm at now, I actually moved to it in October last year only, so I'm still not really familiar with the climate. But the impression that I'm getting is that this is actually a much drier place than what Cape Town is supposed to be. So any rain that we do get is actually quite a huge relief because it actually, for our gardens and just in general, because it's actually, I'm originally from a place that's a lot colder. So when it's this hot and humid, then I start really feeling drained, and that's not really nice. But with rain, then at least then it does. It might either go really hot in a few days again, but at least it won't be that humid, or otherwise it might hopefully be a bit cooler for a few days. Well, that's at least what I've been finding over the past few months since moving here. Mm. Mm. So I'm I'm still really, really bad at actually opening and closing documents while talking, so which is part of the reason why I'm going so quiet at the moment. Um, I'm thinking today I'm probably just going to work on my Western again for a few minutes and then see what I'm going to do. Because the thing is, I don't really want to do the Western is a bit more, not necessarily light-hearted, but it is a bit less involved than any of the other things that I've got going on at the moment. So um, I'm hoping that it will just maybe help me clear my mind a little bit and then um, just um, just basically get back into the mood. And then if once I have finished this 20 minutes, hopefully I'll be a bit more energetic because writing can sometimes do that. Sky actually just said, I hate hot, humid, and muggy weather. It sucks. I agree. I really agree. But luckily it's not the most humid that I've ever experienced. So, it's not like where it's so humid that I start regretting my decisions to move here, but it is less pleasant, for me at least. I just don't like the feeling of, where I'm feeling like I should be cooling down, but I can't because my sweat literally isn't even evaporating the way it's supposed to. That is the worst for me. So as long as that doesn't quite happen, I can still survive without feeling like I want to die. So what will you be working on tonight, Sky? Or today for you? You're of course 7 hours behind me. I have to say, Sky actually I think we have a bit of a lines crossing thing. Ah, there, Sky says, I'm still working on Damned and Deadly. My goal is to finish it by the end of January, so I'll probably be working on it every day. Laugh out loud. Nice. I wish I could work on my writing every day the way you do because I I think if I said that I have to finish any of my books by the end of January, I would probably die like by next week. But yeah, so I'm kind of it's I don't know. Actually from my point of view, the amount of work that suddenly got thrown my way just completely. I'm not used to working this much in the beginning of the year. Usually I find that people maybe start waking up like halfway through the month. But this month, for some reason, I'm basically booked all the way, literally all the way through to January. Sorry, February. And So much so that the requirement of the work that I'm going to have to do is I don't actually even know how humanly possible it's going to be. So now that's part of the reason why I'm still having to decide whether I'm going to do extra work tonight, because I also have to realize that I have to pace myself so that I don't end up completely burned out like a couple of months from now. Okay, Sky says it's a lot shorter than what you're working on though. Maybe not your Western. I don't remember what word count you're aiming for with it. I'm aiming for 50k with Damned and the Deadly. I think what I'm aiming for with the Western is probably going to be somewhere between, I'd say, 65 to 75,000 words, because 50,000 is a bit short for a Western, I feel. Um, but I don't want to go much longer with it either, especially since it's my first. Uh, it will be my first book under another pseudonym, if I can put it that way, because I'm probably not going to link my Western to my other stuff simply because it's so different to my speculative fiction work that I usually do. I have to say, while I'm on that subject as well, is that I actually don't have an idea what I'm going to make my next pseudonym, because I kind of like staying true to my name so that if people actually just think about it a little bit, they might figure out who I am. Because again, I'm not really doing it as a state secret to really, really, really hide who I am or what I'm doing, but more just for branding purposes. So even with, I only recently actually started doing my social media work under my pseudonym that I use for my speculative fiction. My blogs, and even some of my older stuff is actually all that is, they're all registered under my original name, which is actually kind of weird, I guess. But it's just because I was blogging for probably at least 2 years before my first book was published, and I literally decided on my actual pen name like maybe 2 weeks or something before publishing, because I just realized that people don't understand how my spelling is. Or say that again. Sorry, I can't English today. Um, People can't really understand how to spell my surname, so I don't really see if they can't spell it how they're ever going to remember it. So I just changed it to something that's basically a more phonetic spelling of my name, but also the phonetic incorrect pronunciation of my name. Yeah. Sky says, I know the feeling. I'll be writing under 3 pen names. SD Hayes? Hayes is for anything fantasy and his subgenres. Dakota Hoffman is sweet contemporary romance, and then I'll have erotica under another name. So you are still writing erotica. I was wondering when we talked about it the other day. No, yeah, I'm basically what I'm doing is I use Misha Garrick for my more adult fantasy stuff, like my Endless series, which one day I will get to, and also some of the short stories that I've published, and then anything young adult I do. Anything young adult I actually publish as M Garrick, which is just simpler. Um, and the funny thing is, actually, M was the first thing that I used, but I actually use the two interchangeably as well. It's just literally what goes onto the name of my cover that differs a little bit. Sky says Dakota is my middle name, and Hoffman was my maiden name, so it worked out. I actually, a funny story is that in the Western that I'm writing, one of the characters that will be coming. Okay. Okay. Let me just get back to my train of thought, and I'll read that comment out loud. So Dakota is actually the name of one of the characters in my Western series. She's not actually in this book though. She was supposed to, but then I realized there are so many characters that I would have to work my way down. So in the newest draft that I wrote, I did just chop that up and bring her in a bit later. So Sky says, I tell people to pronounce my name as if the Y and the G are reversed. So hey, guess. Okay, cool. I'll try to remember that. So sorry if I butcher it again. Hey, guess. Interesting. Cool. Um, yeah. So, yeah. So with the um, so with my Western series, I'm kind of also thinking just something more. Um, I don't know, a bit maybe girly, just maybe, because it is Western romance, so it will probably be posted more as a romance set in the West than anything else. Um, I do sometimes read the more harder hitting Western stuff, and I enjoy movies about it set in that time. So it's not that I have anything against it, but I, yeah, I basically grew up reading romances. So I have always had, or not always, but basically since the day I decided to start writing, I had this idea for the Western. So it's actually more a romance that is also a little bit of a Western more than anything else. But hopefully that's good. If one day I can actually finish it and the curse somehow managed to get lifted. I don't know how. Oh, thank heavens. Okay. I just sorry while I just happened to see that I had an email coming in. And then it was from the person who hired me for this copy editing job that just like really nearly killed me today. And she just let me know that she understands and that I must please take my time to make sure that the quality is as high as possible. So at least I'm just really glad because I had to actually today. She begged me to get the job done by Friday, but basically she gave me 4 days to do it, and the quality of the writing. It was written by a group of people, and it just feels like every single one of them tried to hijack every single sentence. So some of the sentences are just really hard to make sense of. And that's probably why I sound like a bit of a limp dish rag today, because it really does feel like my brain got like wrung out like a sponge or something. So I had to, after the first day of trying to see how fast I can actually get through the work, I just realized that I've got nowhere close to the amount of pages that I need to work through. And so I had to let her know that I think it's actually going to be impossible, but I really didn't want to let her down. But now she just sent me an email and let me know that actually, yeah, it's better to just focus on the quality and just take my time, but probably still do it as quickly as I possibly can. But it's just nice at least to know that she's not expecting me to be like superhuman about this, which was a nice relief because it's actually the first time I worked with her. Yeah. Phew. So I think actually what I'm going to do. Yeah. So Sky says, ouch, so at least she's letting you focus on quality. Yeah, that is absolutely, because that's actually what I did is when I wrote the email, I said I'm not usually someone who complains and who backs out of a promise, but when You see, the thing is, we've actually been talking about me doing these edits for like, oh, let me think, since last year June. But then every time something came up, I think with their writing up the report they're supposed to be writing, and then probably the 15 edits that everybody did to just hijack every sentence. So um, they so what happened was that I've already seen like 2 or 3 drafts of this report that I'm supposed to be editing. And those drafts actually didn't look too bad. So when she mailed me again without sending me like another sample, I thought, okay, so it's not going to be that terrible, even though she did say that they did get comments that it feels like different people wrote it, which I thought to mean like there's no consistency between paragraphs. But now, when I actually read the newest version that she sent me after basically hiring me, I realized that no, actually, what they meant was that within a single sentence, it feels like 5 people wrote it, without any single one of them actually uh, paying attention to what the intention of the original sentence was. So I'm basically having to rewrite entire sections of the report just so that it sounds like English. Because it sounds so weird. It's very difficult to explain, but it's like even they would take something that's supposed to be a clause, but then probably find that, oh no, there's already a clause in this space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it into an adjective and then just put it right smack bang in the middle of the sentence before we even got to the subject. And stuff like that. It's some sentences I actually said to her that, please, we have to keep in mind that I can't even literally make sense of some of these sentences, so you're going to have to rewrite them. But yeah, so that was kind of where this kind of exhaustion is coming from with me, because it's really yeah, it's ooh, yeah, it's just it takes way more concentration than one would think. But yeah, so I just basically explained the whole situation to her and just said that I'm not usually someone to complain, but there's either a trade-off. I can rush through it and do very superficial stuff and get it done by Friday, or I can actually do this properly, and I don't know when it's going to get done, because it just really depends on to what extent they've continued to do this with their writing, where there are like sentences where I would like literally have to stop and stare at the sentence for 5 minutes to understand what happened. Because it's almost like a murder mystery to see who did what, so that I can pull everything into its little parts and then figure out what the actual message is, and then put all the little parts back in a way that other people would actually be able to understand. So yeah, but at least, as you said, she is actually letting me focus on the quality, so I'm really happy about that, because I hate 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 sending stuff in that I know is subpar, so I don't do it ever. As far as I possibly can, I avoid it. um and it's actually something that goes into my writing as well. And I think I mentioned it the other day, how I sometimes miss having a publisher, simply because I need an editor who's willing to pry a book out of my clinging little fingers, because I'm not willing to actually just let a book go, because I'm so perfectionistic. So yeah, so it's actually very nice to at least know that she's happy with me going to town on it and taking a bit more time in order to get it done properly. Hmm. Great. So um, mm, sorry if I already said that before, because I think I might have. But yeah, so I think I'm probably going to take the night off to just recover. And then what I'm probably going to do is actually maybe write and do the extra work for the hourly work on Saturday. Catch up because I just need to just take a breath. But then at least now knowing that I'm not really as much going through a meat grinder, I probably will be at least be able to be kind enough that for the rest of the week I'll be able to do a bit of both and then get everything done in due time. Um, Sky says that does sound exhausting. I don't blame you for wanting to take the night off. Self care is a must. Yeah, I absolutely. I used to think no, it wasn't, and I actually it sounds so weird, but you get to a point where you get physically and emotionally exhausted from working, and I've once injured my hand by writing too much and too fast, but also thanks to bad technique. So I actually went and about 6 months ago, I had to actually relearn how to type properly so that I didn't hurt my wrist as much as I used to. Because before it didn't matter, but it starts mattering when you use the wrong technique for like 5 or 6 hours continuously. So, um, so I actually got a ganglion cyst on this wrist here, but then I did a bit of yoga and it went away. But I'm still careful because it can act back. So I've had physical manifestations of working too hard, and I sometimes get the emotional part of it as well, and just being like really, really drained and exhausted. So I do try to calm down a bit and take care of myself and relax a bit where I can. Um, Although sometimes for me, I'm being a complete workaholic. Sometimes it's more relaxing to keep working on something, even as I am relaxing, because otherwise I'm actually stressing out more about what I still need to do and how far I'm behind on stuff rather than actually calming down, doing nothing. So tonight I'm probably just going to still be doing something, but it will just be relaxing in the sense that it won't be using the same kind of skill set. So I might do something like I'm kind of thinking I signed up to a, a platform where you can do like online courses for arts and stuff. So I'm kind of thinking that I'm going to sign up for a graphic design course and see how far I get with that. I used to do a design course and then I kind of got so busy that I just lost track of it. But um, especially since I want to do my own covers, it does feel that if I just mess around the whole time without there really being like an actual direction, I feel like I'm never actually going to be able to improve as a cover designer. And although I'm probably not really going to ever sell my services as a cover designer, I have to actually be good enough so that people actually want to ask for a recommendation for the cover designer because I'm so good that people can't tell that I made it myself. And as for why I want to do it this way, I've been debating for like days about whether I should just get a cover designer to do it for me. But in the first place, I did mention before about the exchange rate being so expensive. So uh, one cover is about the cost, even a the cheapest, um, yeah, basically like the cheapest pre-made cover that you can come up with is probably going to come in at around the value of um okay, I should also see the cheapest one that doesn't look like a dog's breakfast will probably come in at around the value of a month's minimum wage in my country. So it's really, it sounds so weird, but it's really like expensive to buy stuff like that. Um and also again it's my perfectionism thing. Every time where I have involved a graphic designer in designing my covers, I'm invariably unhappy about the cover. Um, and so I was actually I'm friends with some cover designers, and one of them one day just said, "Listen, if you're so specific about your vision and what you're wanting to represent on the cover, then the best thing you can actually do is find a way to do it yourself. So that's basically what I took that advice to heart, because at least if I do it myself, then I can just blame myself if it sucks. But I don't want to actually pay money so that I have to blame someone else for sucking. So that's basically what it comes down to. Although if I keep if I remain as busy as I am right now, I'm probably going to actually have to get a cover designer, and I'm going to have to outsource a lot of the stuff that I can do and I am actually able to do really well. But I'm just going to have to start outsourcing for the stupid reason that I don't have as much time to do stuff for myself. And I don't want to get stuck where I end up not publishing in a year because I haven't been able to do the more auxiliary stuff around publishing, for example, the covers and the formatting and marketing stuff and things like that. So it is, I'm still kind of in that kind of balancing, but all things considered, doing a cover, if you can do it properly, I think is probably one of the faster parts of the process. So it's not something, and also I like it. I do enjoy getting down and doing like more visual artistic stuff. So I enjoy covers when I do make them. And yes, all of the covers that I have made for all of my book covers that are currently out there is actually I made them. So you be the judge of whether they're any good or not. So Sky says, I can understand why you'd want to design your own covers. If you have to go the route of hiring someone, maybe you could make mock covers to give to give to a designer. Yeah, that's a good idea. Although I don't know, I that's probably part of the reason why I would actually just do it myself in the end. Because again, for me, making a mock cover, I would probably still just do a proper cover myself. Um, and the other thing is that if I hire someone who specializes in doing like the marketing kind of part of cover design, you know, because there is actually, people don't always realize it, but part of the marketing of any product is the packaging. So packaging, so you do actually have to. Um, so I would hope that my cover designer would actually be better at marketing than I am. And then if that is the case, then it's probably better for me to just say, okay, you know, I kind of, I have this is the themes. I'm kind of thinking about something symbolic, but really clean, but maybe just a bit different, because I don't want to look like I'm trying to knock off J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, J.R.R. Tolkien or George R.R. Martin or anyone like that. Um, but I don't want the old standard drawn thing where it looks like a fantasy poster, but it's so busy that you can't really see what the name is and any stuff like that. So, um, yeah, so I would basically just want to be able to give someone a brief, and that person would be able to actually do something that's better than what I can come up for myself. And I think that's the problem, because my brain runs at a mile a minute. So I haven't really been able to find that kind of person who is able to actually do that for me. The only person that I have found was actually the person who drew the fantasy map that's going to go into my War of Six Crowns series. But even with her, what I did was, when she drew my map, I basically took Photoshop and I chopped it into little bits and moved stuff around so that you could get a better idea of how I envisaged it. But that ended up working well. I just don't think that after someone took a long time to create something, like, or not a long time, but a decent amount of time to create a cover, and I come back with my suggestions and like, well, actually, I want this, you know. So I haven't figured that part out yet, and it just keeps feeling like going through that kind of process is really it's going to take so long that it's going to be really expensive. So that's kind of where my dilemma comes from. But yeah, so I'm probably tonight going to hang out with all by myself and just kind of watch some uh, graphic design stuff and just get into that kind of zone, or learn how to get more into that zone, because I do have like a picture of what I want, but I think I sometimes, because I come from the marketing and writing and English and uh, business side of writing, or just literally anything. I come from that background. So although I enjoy stuff like painting and visual arts, I am doing visual art. That part of bringing the two together, I don't think I quite have the vocab to actually do it properly. So it would be nice if I could actually learn how to do that in a way that helps me improve. And that's kind of what I'm looking for in the lesson. So I hope I find something that's actually worthwhile. Because really, this platform that I signed up for, I'm a little bit upset with. It said that I could have 2 months free subscription to test it out. All I have to do is click the button to activate my subscription. Um, Even though, and then when I did that, then they let me know, oh, sorry, you can't get 2 months free subscription. So I just went ahead and subtracted money from your bank account. So that was like really, I'm still a bit upset. So they better be really good at what they do, because otherwise I'm unsubbing as fast as they can say unsub. Um, Sky says, I'm about as artistic as a slug. I love giving up full control to my cover artists and seeing what they come up with. I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. That sounds lovely. Oh no, it's no fair. Yeah. I'm so jealous. No, I would love to be able to do that, but I can't. I am a total control freak. I'm crazy control. Not so much with people, but with regards to myself and my intellectual property, I'm like that. So it's yeah. I'm sure it must be such a relaxing experience to just let it go. And I do remember it was quite nice to know that, well, when I was at the publishing house, and I just knew that, well, I hope the cover is nice. And then actually, as the day for the cover being released came close, I really got really, like, seriously nervous, because I didn't know what they were going to do with it at all. And I remember looking at the first cover and being like really upset, because I actually very specifically said that I didn't want people on the cover. Um, and then they went ahead and then they did that whole despite the fact that this is actual epic fantasy, or more epic fantasy slash quarter fantasy, they, that whole trope of cover design of girl standing on cover with back towards audience, looking away distantly into the moody distance. That was what they put on my cover. So my first reaction is like, hmm. But then I got used to it, and then I'm like, okay, well, actually, it doesn't look terrible. And it was as a piece of art, the cover was actually quite beautiful, and probably more beautiful than what I have right now. Is What I have right now is actually 2 swords, one on each of my covers, that I just did myself, because what I was looking was actually for something that more represented what's going on in the book itself. So the fantasy part of it being the swords, but the clean white background, um, basically just being really, really plain, um, and minimalistic, was about it being like this meeting of the uh, modern with the actual fantasy aspect. So that's kind of what I went for. And I do actually want to take it a bit further now with my next edition of these books, so that it's a bit more clear, and also just to show off my skills that I have learned as a cover designer. Yeah, so Sky says, I'm a control freak with my writing, but since the extent of my artistic talent and knowledge is, oh, that's pretty or ugly, yeah, much less stressful to pass that part of the process on. Understood. I completely understand. Yeah, so, yeah, for me, I think my, a part of my blessing and and curse sometimes is that I'm a bit more of a Renaissance person. So I think the one thing I can say I'm not really good at is like sport, which is quite evident here. But it's other than that, I'm basically mostly quite capable of pretty much anything. If I sit down with enough focus to actually try it out, I can nail something quite nail a skill down quite quickly and quite deeply, more than people would probably expect me to be able to do. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. We've been chatting now, like in between this, and I've been talking nonsense to cover the blank areas between your answers and where I finished replying. But I'm seeing that that I've been running on a little bit, so sorry. I one day I will probably figure out the actual beats of doing this live stream thing. I'm hoping probably somewhere around broadcast 50 or maybe 100 if I keep doing this. Hopefully one day I'll sort out the beats of this thing and it doesn't look like crap, because I assume that these videos actually look terrible. So sorry for that, future hypothetical audience. I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah. Okay, so Sky, I think it's probably time for us to actually get to the writing part. So let me know if you are ready, and then I'll activate the timer. Okay, so Sky's ready when I am, and I'm quite ready now. So I'm going to start counting down from 3, and then we get going, and then I'll call out when our time is done. So 3, 2, 1. and time. How did you do, Sky? I actually got 408 words. So finally, for the first time since actually starting this whole daily writing thing, I've crossed 400 words in 20 minutes. So hopefully that is a definite sign of upwards progress. So I'm quite happy with that. Nicely done. Sky says she got 619 words. That's a nice amount of words. Well done. That's really cool. So, yeah, absolutely all the words. One day, we're going to be like at 800 words per 20-minute sprint or something. And we're going to be really productive. The funny thing is, I might actually, for my next sprint, I might actually be um, able to write a lot because I have written this chapter before, so I actually know that I'm at a point where I'm going to have a very nice dramatic scene coming up. So that's probably going to be something that's going to be really fast to write. Because when the emotions are high, I type faster, believe it or not. So I'm quite excited that I'm actually there because it's actually one of my more subconscious milestones that I've been looking forward to getting to. So I'm kind of actually glad that I've somehow low key without much worries that I actually managed to get there, which is very cool because this just getting to this point before I actually started doing this daily writing thing, it took me the better part of 6 months. So that's a bit crazy. So yeah. Dum dum dum. Yeah, exactly. Sky says insert dramatic music. So yeah, absolutely. Uh, I'm looking forward to that. So it's probably a really cool place where I ended up dropping off for tonight because it's just going to go right into it and there's no worry about getting started and building momentum. So that's also very cool. Yeah, I think I'm probably just going to say goodnight for now and then I will be back tomorrow at the same time, same place. So Sky, if you are here, you're welcome to join. And then just let me know whether or not the people on your roof are now done, and then I can send you a link and then we can chat in the hangout again. But also, if anyone else happens to watch this and they want to join and they are writers, then they should just send me a message and we can talk about it. And then maybe we can have some more people in our hangout, which is also cool. But yeah, I think that's basically it for now. I really have to work on my sign. Yeah. Hmm. But yeah, so other than needing to work on my sign off, I just um, I just have to say goodbye, I suppose. Sky, thank you very much. I see you shared a link to gain some folks. I have been sharing my links as well, although tonight I didn't really get to as much. But yeah, it's not working yet. So hopefully that eventually we'll get to it. I'm also hoping to just get more involved with the YouTube writing community, and that will hopefully also start attracting more people. Fingers crossed, because as much as I enjoy your company, the idea is to actually get more people doing it. So it would be cool if we can get more people in. All right, but then I'm rambling again. So I'm just going to say good night and talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.